Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of Golden Era.
Hello and welcome to Living on the Edge. This week on our program, what the indiscriminate dumping of hospital waste can do to your health, how granite quarrying threatens to destroy ancient temples outside Madras, and a look behind the glitz and glamour of advertising hoardings to show you just how they affect our environment. You go there to get treated, and if you're lucky, you come back hale and hearty. Unless, of course, you pick up a new disease while you're there. But the cost of your hospitalization is often borne by those who have nothing to do with your treatment. Those who are exposed to harmful substances and hospital waste that is dumped virtually anywhere in callous disregard of the consequences for public health. Sneha Koshi reports using Bangalore as a case study. Her story is a shocking revelation of official apathy, the indifference of hospital authorities, and the sheer ignorance that prevails amongst those who are supposed to safeguard public health.
Indian Express Trivandrum. An anguished husband sues hospital as a dog was seen to be dragging away wife's amputated leg. The Hindu, Bangalore, July 19th. Blood was oozing out of a cow's mouth. A passerby discovered that it was because of a needle from a syringe thrown in a garbage bin.
Reports such as these are not rare. Across the country, it is becoming increasingly evident that hospitals are spreading dirt and disease far beyond their confines. Instead of controlling infection, they are fueling its spread. Take Bangalore, for instance. Every year, its hospitals generate about 5 lakh tons of hazardous waste. But instead of disposing it off carefully, most hospitals simply wash their hands of it. It is dumped in residential areas, on footpaths, and sometimes even allowed to accumulate behind a nursing home. Doctors who did not want to be identified say dysentery and typhoid are a definite possibility if drinking water gets contaminated. TB bacilli, if present in the waste, can easily get into the atmosphere. Besides, there is always the danger of disposed syringes spreading hepatitis B and even AIDS. When Living on the Edge went to nursing homes and hospitals to see just how needles, bandages and byproducts of operations are discarded, we got very little cooperation. Many institutions refused to let us enter the premises, but we managed to force our way into a few. Malaya Hospital, one of the city's most prestigious, lets its waste accumulate in its backyard. Corporation vans collect and handle it like ordinary garbage. Just what the fallout of this is impossible to say. This procedure is followed by several private hospitals.
When you collect the waste, where do you dispose it?
Yeah, there is a dustbin on the road where the corporation lorry comes and they pick them away.
So every day the corporation van will come and collect it, and thereafter we will clean, then put phenyl and bleaching powder, then allow it to dry. So afterwards only we will put the next day's debris.
The seeming indifference of private nursing homes is shared by government hospitals like the Bowring Institute, which dispose of their waste in a similar manner. The question is, can the hazardous byproducts of modern medical practice be disposed of so that they are not potentially harmful to ordinary citizens? The answer is, they can. The secret is an incinerator on the premises, which converts clinical material into ash through thermal decomposition. The process takes 45 minutes, and a few hospitals in Bangalore have installed the system. St. Philomena's, for instance, has one, but the smoke from the incinerator emits a foul odor. A scrubber in the outlet pipe, it is said, can absorb the smoke and solve the problem. And yet, the corporation has not seen it fit to clear the proposal the hospital put forward.
Actually, we have a lot of waste to be disposed, which we like to have incinerator and burn it here in the hospital premises itself. So we have put an application to corporation. They are not that much interested to sanction the plan.
At least the incinerator at St. Philomena's exists and is in working order. Other hospitals, however, haven't felt the need to set up their own. Even though the system comes in all sizes, it needs a minimum of 5 square feet and costs only about 3 lakh rupees. It is practical and affordable, and yet it's not a mandatory requirement for hospitals.
So for 25 years you all haven't put an incinerator.
There was no demand.
Pardon?
There was no pressure.
There is no specific reference to hospital waste as such in the law as of now. No proper method or no systematic way of disposal, I think, almost in any hospital for that matter. 1 or 2 hospitals in Bangalore have incinerators.
What makes this worse is that the medical profession, which could become a strong pressure group, is blissfully unaware of how disposal can be carried out. In a recent survey of 69 doctors, nurses, lab technicians and health workers in Bangalore, it was found that 32% did not know how it was to be disposed of. 11% felt that infected cotton, used gloves and intravenous bottles could be recycled. Only 2% knew it had to be incinerated. 55% thought it could be either dumped, burnt, buried or flushed down to be disposed. Is it surprising then that hospital waste disposal is not a priority, even though hundreds, if not thousands of citizens are at risk? Those most vulnerable to infection, however, are rack pickers and sanitary workers. Bangalore's rack pickers recycle 15% of the city's waste and are exposed to high levels of potentially harmful substances.
There are needles which injure us and spread infection. When I pick up the waste, there are bottles. As a result, I get fever, throat pain and develop infection for days.
There are many times I have seen the leprosy patients picking up these bandages which are used, they rewash it and reuse it. So there is a lurking danger in the background.
And yet, the vicious cycle begun by indifference and neglect seems unending. Administrators speak of helping smaller hospitals acquire incinerators in the future. The Bangalore branch of the Indian Medical Association says it's a voluntary body and can't do much. Bureaucrats say the law as it exists today makes accountability impossible to enforce. So where does it leave us?
Something which is hazardous and like hospital waste should be handled by the corporation or any of the municipal bodies, because they are the people who have the machinery to deal with it.
Yes, the healthcare workers as well as health institutions have a responsibility of removing the disease rather than causing the disease.
Whichever way you look at it, the systematic and scientific disposal of hospital waste can take place only if accountability is enforced and the process regularly monitored. The Bangalore Corporation has recently made incinerators compulsory and all hospitals have to get them in 2 months. Just how many will comply and how the corporation will deal with them if they don't is of course another matter. That hospitals which are supposed to cure and treat patients are themselves a cause of serious illnesses is in itself an indictment of our health system. That they are not accountable is a cruel irony.
If you found that report depressing, you can take heart in the fact that there's a new bill on the anvil that seeks to control the collection and disposal of hospital waste. T.L. Sudhir of Tumkur, Karnataka writes, I would like to draw your attention to one of the most famous rock formations of India, the Yana, one of the most scenic spots in the Western Ghats, which is in danger now. A government order might just allow stone quarrying in Yana. This might also lead to large-scale tree felling. We are all alarmed about this. Sudhir, I'm afraid we can't cover this just yet. But we have a similar problem outside Madras, where scores of ancient temples are facing destruction because of mining. Priya Somaya did a lot of trekking to bring you this report.
Perumukkal is a little village not far from Madras. If you drive through it, you'll be transported back in time to the medieval era. These 3 temples were built in the Vijayanagar period between the 11th and 13th century. Once the hub of religious and social activity, they came to be abandoned, and today, with the exception of a few adventurous children from the village, nobody visits the place. Though the temples are not protected by the Archaeological Survey, their significance can't be ignored. Sculptures and inscriptions on the wall provide an indelible link to a bygone era that even the ravages of time have been unable to efface. Without any protection, these temples have survived, and there's no reason why they can't in the future, if rudimentary conservation measures are followed. Unfortunately, that seems to be asking for too much. Granite quarrying in the area is beginning to focus operations on the very rock on which the main temple stands. It's rich in granite, say speculators, and they've been able to get licenses from the state government to start work.
The persons who give license, they are not well versed in the art and architecture of the country. So they do not know what is the importance of a temple or inscriptions. So they are interested in getting money and creating employment avenue.
Villagers say explosives are used every day to create cavities to hollow out the stone. If that's true, damage to the temples is inevitable.
The temple which is located on the right on the bedrock, because of the use of powerful detonators like gelatin and other things, the vibration which was caused due to explosion, that passes through the bedrock and it affects the foundation of the temple. And due to this constant and vibration over the years will definitely cause cracks and ultimately to lead to the collapse of the structure.
And it's not just the temples that are under threat. Archaeologists have also discovered a cave with ancient rock carvings. Some claim the etchings predate the Egyptian hieroglyphs of 5000 BC. Others say they are about as old as the temples. But no one doubts their historical and archaeological value.
The whole surface of the rock is engraved with so many figures, like human figures, geometrical figures, and some of them are letters of 6th century AD here. Such kind of rock shelters are generally used by the shepherds who used to come here and rest. So at the time what happens is they used to sit and carve something, some designs of their own from their own mind. Such kind of rock engravings, even though they are not archaeologically important now, it may become archaeologically important at some more time. So once if the quarrying is being allowed for a long time, now these rocks, they will go automatically.
That's why local people and the trustees of the temple are concerned about the continuance of mining in the area. And it's not just for the preservation of ancient monuments that they want quarrying to be restricted.
It is very bad for the temple and some parts are damaged. Secondly, when mining is on near the village, women and children are afraid to go out.
The tale of woe of the residents is far from complete. Hectic mining could dry up the natural springs in Perumukkal. These have been the primary source of water for generations, and the dust raised from the mines could cause serious environment and health problems in the long run.
Because of quarrying, the wells and tanks located in the village are getting silted. The water becomes contaminated and villagers can't drink. And the chemicals on the rock, after they're detonated, contaminates the drinking water.
இந்த ரசாயன பொருட்கள் தண்ணியில கலக்கிறதுனால அந்த தண்ணீருடைய தூய்மைத்தன்மை கெட்டுப்போச்சு.
The temple trustees have been forced to go to court to redress their grievances. They have filed a public interest litigation to stop mining activity. While it's difficult to predict the outcome, many feel the state government is not likely to take any step that might harm the granite lobby's interests, considering their political and economic clout.
May 31 கல் உடைக்கும்.
The licenses given earlier expired on May 31st, but the quarry owners might have bribed the officials in the geology department in the state government, and now they are continuing the mining.
Stay கொடுக்கப்படல அப்படினு சொல்லிட்டு மைன்ஸ் டைரக்டர் அவங்கள போய் பார்த்து அவங்களுக்கு ஏதோ சம்திங் கொடுக்க வேண்டியதை கொடுத்து மேற்கொண்டு கல் உடைக்கிற வேலையை நீடிச்சு இப்போ தொடர்ந்து இப்போ வந்து உடைச்சிக்கிட்டே இருக்காங்க.
In fact, when Living on the Edge visited the area, we were told that mining had intensified. When we tried to film the activity and speak to the mine owners, we were told to switch off our camera. Our investigations revealed that mining cannot be legally stopped unless the monuments are deemed to be protected. Archaeological survey officials say that they are helpless unless the monuments are declared protected. In fact, in a report to the Parliament in March 95, they had recommended that the state government take these monuments under their wing. But as long as the state government isn't sympathetic to preservation, the mere declaration that a monument is protected won't help.
There are so many examples. The most important one which comes to my mind is Kudumyan Malai. There, the whole hillock and the temple and cave is protected by the Archaeological Survey of India as national monument. But the quarrying is going on since several years, and we have approached the state government, but state government was not favorable to us. There are thousands of temples. If you lose one temple, what is going to happen? Nothing. That is their view.
One of our viewers, Arun Sharma of Retree, India, Dharamshala, Himachal, writes, I have privilege to draw your attention towards the sad state of trees which have been tagged with advertisements and slogan boards with nails by various agencies. I request you to include this issue in your next program. Tisha Srivastav decided to do just that. Here's what she found.
It's that time of the night when the capital begins to look like a paler version of Las Vegas, with its glitzy hoardings, neon billboards, and what have you. In an aggressive market scenario where attention grabbing is the name of the game, hoardings have come to be the sign of the times.
While you're traveling on a road or you're stuck in a traffic jam or something, what are you doing? You're doing nothing sitting in that car. So if you have nice bright lines, a peppy outdoor, something of that sort, well, it is entertainment, of course. We are trying to get hold of the consumer and trying to attract his attention, and therefore we are doing our best to try and get them.
Of course, not everyone feels that this is good.
Any new company which comes just takes over 50 such places, just by money power. Whether it's a temple or a mosque, they couldn't be bothered. Because of these hoardings, they are felling trees, destroying the beauty of our roadsides, our houses, our streets.
Sadly, this isn't far from the truth. What seems exciting and alluring in the night is reduced to an ugly reality in the day. In fact, hoardings are increasingly becoming a traffic menace.
Some accidents have happened.
What kind of accidents?
Hoarding people are doing electricity work when the whole thing fell on a car.
This is 70 feet high. They are extending it by 15 to 20 feet. One like this had fallen down in the storm. We had complained, but they said, do what you want. We are going to put it up since we are getting paid for it. Trees are being cut like there is no forest department in the city. Wherever there are hoardings, you will find that the roads have no shade.
In the name of trimming trees for making hoardings visible, branches have been cut and trees have been lopped off. And so in the place of shadowy avenues, we are now making way for roads devoid of any green lungs. And to make things worse, if this was not bad enough for the world's fourth most polluted city, hoardings are scarring the most pristine of shrines like mosques, temples, tombs and graveyards.
It's a tomb of a big religious figure, and on top of it is a cigarette ad. We feel really hurt.
Yet if you question the Waqf board official responsible for such community property, this is what he says.
After coming to the graveyard, dead people don't come back. Our concept is that it's just mud. So what is the harm in putting it up?
We received an equally brusque, matter-of-fact response from a hoarding contractor when asked if they cut trees while putting up hoardings.
That's business.
I believe this kind of hoarding is a violation of the law in terms of height.
Yeah, it is.
So then how is it happening?
No, but I don't know, people are what they are doing, but what kind of height they
As per the law, No hoardings are allowed to be higher than 30 feet and lower than 7 feet. No hoardings can block footpaths, and in areas under the purview of the NDMC and the PWD, no hoardings are allowed at all. The law also clearly states that under no circumstances will any trees be cut, leave alone for the facilitation of hoardings. Yet hoardings as high as 100 feet swarm the roadsides by the dozen every day, inconveniencing pedestrians, distracting drivers, and even the workers who put up the hoardings without any safety precautions. And when you ask the official machinery, look what they have to say.
We have not found hoardings on PWD roads. We should plan hoardings, not merely check it, but we should plan it in a proper manner, because the hoardings, if planned in a proper manner, if put at a right place, well, they can also make the city beautiful and attractive, but not unscrupulous hoardings.
But when 80% of all hoardings put up are illegal, it becomes apparent that the bottom line is money. The advertising industry's national spends on this medium in 1995 have been over 500 crores. And the hoarding sites in Delhi alone can be rented for anything between 2,000 to over a lakh per month.
The police takes at least 15 to 20,000 rupees for putting up hoardings. In fact, 70% of the hoardings business is all black marketing. The contractors conduct the deal scrupulously, hiding facts from the common person who is promised big money. In this way, illegal hoardings come up.
इस तरीके से ये लोगों को जो है फैक्ट सही नहीं बता के मैनिपुलेट उनको फैक्ट करके और सारी चीज़ छुपाते हुए ये उनको लालच देते हैं और उस लालच से ये होर्डिंग कंपनीज वाले कामयाब हो जाते हैं और होर्डिंग लगा देते हैं.
That's why it serves the advertiser's interest to encourage hoarding contractors. The contractors in turn tempt house owners with lucrative deals, and the regulatory machinery connives in keeping the wheels moving. So while we, in all our civic innocence, will think of it as just something new to look at, hoardings will continue to deface our cities in more ways than one if their growth is not regulated.